Hello, everybody. I'm hoping this attempt will work, and I'll just wait for people to come in again. I'm gonna start at the beginning again because it didn't work on the Wi-Fi. So I'm just using my phone now, and hopefully this will be a better recording, a better audio. Just let me know if you can hear me okay. I hope so. Hi Dana. Okay, so hopefully this is going to be better, so much better. Okay, wonderful. Hello everybody, back we are all together. Sorry about before. So I'm going to start at the beginning because everything was choppy, and then we'll get right into the update itself. I didn't expect to do a live. It is that I only do it when called, and I've been called in the last probably half hour to talk about three things really, because it's time, and hopefully it will help all of you understand why there's such vast experience in your own reality for yourself, but also for the people around you. I don't want to put people into categories ever, but I know that it will help people if you have this sort of basic understanding that it is a multi-dimensional experience we're living in at this time. It is a huge ascension right now in the timeline, and if you can just have awareness of where a person is at, where they're coming from, and even have awareness of where you are coming from in one particular moment, then it can bring you peace. It can bring you acceptance, and a greater compassion and understanding for every individual as well as yourself, because we are all having these multiple dimensional experiences where in one moment we're very much human, in the next moment we're our higher self. We can then go into another state where we are pure consciousness itself, our own consciousness facet, and then we can, some people at the moment all year can experience the divine creator source within themselves. So if you can sort of see these categories that I'm sort of talking about, it's not to categorize people, it's just to help you to see people, help you see yourself. Which aspect are they in? Which aspect are you in? And then you can just find peace and acceptance and allowance of the experience that everybody is choosing. Bear in mind that everybody is created from God, from Source, from the original point, whatever you want to call the creator of it all. So we'll start first of all about the deep dive that we are experiencing and will continue to experience until solstice. We'll talk about the death process, because I want to bring assurance to people about that, as people around them may transition, or in case they have a fear themselves of the death process itself. And I want to talk about that. I've been encouraged to by my friends because I've recently experienced it myself. And from that experience, as always, I'll only talk from experience, and I just want to comfort everybody. And then lastly, it all ties in to this now and the timeline everybody is in, but it's also about having a bigger picture of the future of humanity and what we're evolving into as human beings. So I want to talk about feeling, human feelings, because that is in truth energy. All feelings are energy, and we are becoming more energetic. So it may sound like I'm talking about lots of different things, but hopefully by the end of it, it will bring some peace and greater understanding for yourself and those around you. Before I begin though, I just want to apologize for myself. I didn't expect to do this live just right now. I am very muzzy-headed, very groggy, and it's really hard to focus on talking itself because what's happening to me is I'm becoming more and more vibration itself. That is my current experience. I'm losing the sort of aspect of humanness, and I'm becoming more vibration, and so it's very hard to focus at the moment on remembering what to say. So apologies if I'm all over the place, but you kind of got me at my most groggiest, and you know, it is what it is, right? Okay, so if you haven't seen the videos already, particularly the last one, I'd encourage you to watch that, because I'm not going to go over it. I'm going to assume you understand the train analogy. You understand the different categories I spoke about. I'm just going to assume that now. I want to talk about the people that stayed on the train that are highly awakened. So they didn't jump off, they're not cycling, they're getting through their stuff at warp speed, and they stayed on the train. And most of the year, those people, there aren't really that many in comparison to the population, but most of the year they have had a very different journey to the vast majority of people in the awakened spiritual community. And their journey has been about discovering what always was, which is in each's journey, to be honest. Everybody's going to go through it. Discovering what they always were, realizing and accepting the divine within them, actually accepting that they are divine source themselves and always were, and just that we had a temporary experience of forgetting that. And so these people that stayed on the 5D train, all they've been doing all year is multiple. They have been clearing human aspects of themselves, distortions. They have been clearing the program. But at the same time, in a parallel to that human experience, they have been experiencing the divine energy within them. They've been working with the divine energy within them. And so those people kind of have and will, as each one goes through it, kind of move away from the 4D and the spiritual arena, because when we're unawakened, we think that human reality is what it is, and an unawakened person can't necessarily feel, hear, see the higher planes, the higher dimensional planes of energy. And so we could say that those higher energetic fields are subtle to the experience when we're unawakened. They're very subtle, or people could even deny they exist. But the higher we go in frequency as we awaken, the higher and higher we go, those planes become less subtle. They become our fascination. And the lower planes, they become less our fascination, because we're transcending out of them. They become what I would describe as a word, just a word, coarse, quite rough. So they're a more coarse experience of energy, as opposed to a more beautiful experience of energy. And I am talking about energy itself here, not people. Okay, so the people that stayed on the train, have been elevating and elevating at the same time as clearing the remnants of human programming, and they have let go of their human identity, their human personality, excuse me, because they're becoming more than that. They're becoming the wholeness, the isness. They're becoming energy itself, and they're becoming more sensitive to light and vibration, because that is what everything is made up of, vibration and light. And so their interests aren't in necessarily speaking anymore or listening to people speak anymore, because their internal experience is kind of more scintillating, because they can expand from that internal experience. Source itself is always wanting to expand. And so you, as Source, will always innately be wanting to expand. And that is why you see people moving away from the denser planes of the 3D and the 4D, because they are literally just evolving. They are the Source evolving. Everybody is the Source evolving. And so it's not a personal thing that you move away from people or conversations or words, etc. Words are part of the linear experience. They're part of the 3D communication system. And at the 5D and above, there are no linear words. So if you're expanding into all of that, you're not going to be wanting to read or listen to words. You're wanting to actually be within and be with and understand the energetic vibrations. And you're wanting to be with and understand the light and its meaning to you as an aspect of consciousness. And so you're always wanting to expand at your own rate, and your rate isn't going to be the same rate as somebody else. So for the people that stayed on the train, and I'm still talking about them at the moment, for the people that stayed on the train and have been expanding into the divinity that they are, and everybody and everything truly is, their experience is very, very different right now to people in the 4D and people in the 3D. They're wanting and choosing to be outside of it. Why? Because the reason they're here is to give energy. And the only way they can give energy is through their conscious awareness that they are it, and that they can work with it and be it for the whole, in service to the whole. So the people on the 5D train that stayed on are becoming more and more energy. They're becoming more in tune with light and vibration than being a human being, if that makes sense. Their role is to give energy out to the whole, in service to the whole. That's their role. It doesn't, in truth, matter what they say in words. What matters is the energy they emit, and that's why they're here. That's their job. There's no one job or role greater than the next. Everybody has their role to be. But for these people, their role is literally to become consciously aware of their ability to be energy and give that energy out. And you know what? It's hard to explain how that works, because it's an internal ability. It's not something you can learn through a book or through a course. It happens to you. Ascension happens to you. You experience ascension. It's not something we have to try at. It's happening anyway. But for these people that stayed on the train, their role is to remember they are energy masters, and they can give energy out, and they can give it out through the vibration of their voice. They can give it out through their hands, through their body, through their field, and their energy is becoming higher and higher and higher and higher. It's becoming more and more expansive. Why? Because that's why they came. That's their role, okay? And as I say, there's no one role better or greater than any other, because everything is God. So how can anything be greater or lesser than itself? It's totally impossible. But it can be a belief system within a human being, okay? A distortion to work through, that you may feel you're greater than, or you may feel you're less than. Either way, that is just a program within the mind to look at, work at, and dissolve. Because God is equal to itself, period. And everybody and everything is made of that one essence. Okay, now the people on the 5D train, their descent to solstice is different to the vast majority of people in the 4D and the 3D. They are embodying more and more energy. They're becoming more and more their true essence of what they were before they came to planet Earth. That doesn't mean that things don't present to them in the physical human reality, but their experience of it is very, very different. It's more balanced. They're able to work through things very, very quickly, where they truly see that everything that presents is an actual gift for their own expansion. Everything. So they're not bothered if something comes up and bites them on the bum, because they know that they can quickly work through it and expand from that into greater awareness. So they're not affected to a great degree by what's playing out in the collective field, the collective reality. Their role, their job, is to be the highest energetic frequency they possibly can be for everyone and everything. And that's their focus. It's also their excitement, their joy, their bliss, to be completely more and more and more connected to the divine. We then have the unawakened, people that haven't awoke just yet. They're on the 5D train as well, but they just don't know it. So everything I'm saying, they won't relate to, because they're in their own reality, which is 3D. And so what presents to them in the outer reality has to shake them up. It's shaking them up because we're on a one collective timeline. We're on the galactic timeline together. And so the best way to shake people up is to activate what Melissa Dehan calls your own kryptonite. Whatever upsets you, whatever angers you, whatever frustrates you, whatever sends you into turmoil or grief, that's the way to get a human being's attention. So their descent to solstice is going to be a rocky road for them, but it's designed, ultimately speaking, to put their attention to their own internal feelings. So the feeling of anger, the feeling of frustration, the feeling of being controlled by others. The whole of this collective timeline that we are witnessing upon Earth is designed to wake people up to how they feel about what they want and do not want. And it will happen individually. So all of these events out there, they're just events, okay? They're just scenes in the grand play. But per individual human being that's unawakened, it will cause their own individual reactions. It could be events that are happening on a collective scale that cause them reaction. It could be events happening within their family, within a partnership, within their job, etc. But either way, the events are just that. They're individual events. And they're designed, ultimately, if people see, to get in tune with their feelings. Because feelings are energy. And the reason what is behind this whole descent to solstice, the reason it's all to do with feelings, is because of where humanity is headed in the very, not too distant future, but people are already experiencing this anyway. If you're awakened, you'll have some degree of ability to feel energy. So what we call human feelings are energy. We just define them as angry, sad, happy, excited. We just define energy frequency. And so if I talk about the future of humanity now and how we will experience each other, it will help you to understand why the unawakened are going through what they're going through right now. Just have a drink. And as I say, a lot of you watching this will have a degree of awareness of this anyway, an ability of it anyway. But your ability, whatever it is, will only expand and expand and expand, and very, very quickly, especially next year. So, through the decades, humanity has learnt to speak words in manners that hide their true energy. They've learnt how to disguise how they feel. So a person, any person, if they wanted to, could speak or could write and say one thing, but underlying the words is a completely different energy. And this is why humanity has been able to be controlled to some degree. Because human beings haven't been able to discern energy. They haven't had the energetic ability to see beyond the words spoken. So we can talk about a politician, we can talk about people in the workplace, people in your family, your partner, people you just meet, start to become friends with. Doesn't matter, I'm just giving you categories so you can understand what I'm saying. People have learnt to disguise their energy through the words spoken or written. And the more and more a human being becomes energetically sensitive, the more they can see easier and easier and easier the energy behind the words spoken or written. And so what that means for the individual that becomes more energetically sensitive to feeling is that they can discern the truth more easily. They can't be duped. It can't be disguised. And this is the era that humanity has already started to be in. But in terms of the unawakened, this descent is designed to get them to look within at what they want. Why are they unhappy? Why are they now noticing the control? Why are they fighting each other? Ultimately speaking, it's a fight against yourself because you don't know yourself at that point. And so it's a mirror to go within and look at how the human being that's unawakened feels, wanting a better life for themselves, wanting to actually feel happy, wanting to feel in harmony, wanting life to be easier. So there's this inner searching that has to happen. Why? Because their feelings have been triggered. And their feelings are energy. When a person starts to search within and within and within and gets in tune with their own feelings and works with their own feelings, not only do they become more energy sensitive to themselves, but they become more energetically sensitive to their environment. It all happens at the same time. And so not only can you be honest with yourself, you can be honest outside of you. Because to not be honest, to not speak truth, you realize denies yourself. You're only denying yourself. Because ultimately, everything outside of you is you. The future human being. I'm talking about the unawakened and the awakened as one. The future human being. And this is why we've got this descent right now. It's a growth, basically. It leads to their expansion. But they will be energetically sensitive to themselves, to the energy they put out, to the energy they give others, because ultimately they give that to themselves. And they'll become energetically sensitive at the same time to the people in their environment that speak or write. And they will see behind the words spoken or the words written, and they will gauge energy. It's not to judge energy. There's nothing to judge. Nothing. It's just experience. It just is. But we become energy gauges ourselves, where we can just gauge energy. This is this, this is this, this is this. We don't need to put story or definition to it. We can do, but it doesn't truly serve us, and we realize that eventually. So we just gauge energy. And so what that means is the people that do speak one way, but inside are feeling a different way to their words. To the people that write one way with an intention, but ultimately behind the words, they're not actually feeling that. They're feeling something else. All of it gets seen because you're becoming, and everybody else is becoming, energy sensitive, energy aware. And so the truth is seen. The truth can't be denied. It can't be hidden anymore. Every human being will become completely energetically sensitive to themselves and to all others. And so to the ones that intentionally deceive, the ones that intentionally manipulate, the ones that speak words because they want an outcome for themselves, have learnt to speak in certain ways to create a desired outcome for the individual human, not the collective humanity. They will be seen through. And as they realize they are seen through, then there lies their own internal realization and work ahead. So when the ones that deceive us realize they are seen through, they have to go on their own journey because they know they're being seen as playing the roles of the deceiver, or the one that says one thing but ultimately they mean another. So they get to choose because they can't keep doing it, because it's seen throughout humanity, throughout the world. And so they too then go on their journey and self-realization and choose a different way. And they will either exit or they too will change. They will choose to raise frequency. It's one or the other, and there's no right or wrong choice. There just isn't. There's just the experience and what each soul has chosen. In terms of the people that are awakened and in the 4D, they're doing the work. It's to know that every single thing that happens to you on this descent to solstice, there is a beautiful, beautiful gift in there for you as an individual. And we will always be presented with the programming, the distortions that we have lived by. We'll always have to be presented with them by being our human aspect first, because that's the way we see. We're used to seeing as a human being first in this experience. And so what we do is we descend into the Maya, we become the human again to receive the lesson, to receive the understanding of ourselves, the experience, the trigger, the upset, the turmoil. We have to descend into very much our humanness in order to pick it up. And it's when we've had that trigger or upset, turmoil, sadness, whatever it is, it's then right at that low point of your individual sine wave, right at that low point. At the low point, that's where the gift is. And we get to choose at that point to look within, what underlies it, what underlies that immediate experience that we've just had. Do the work within. And if we do that, we will expand, we will rise, we will just expand in our awareness that we were more than that experience. And it was a gift to release a part of our own individual programming. And when you release it, you feel lighter and less burdened. And piece by piece, step by step, you set yourself free. So it doesn't, in a sense, matter what happens to you. What matters is that we seek within when something does happen to us. Why? because it's our greatest freedom to do so. When we found something about ourselves as a human being that we believed about ourselves, it just simply wasn't true. We just believed it, and we can release it and let it go and neutralize it as love. I want to move on. Having spoken now about the sort of the timeline, of course it's going to get, it is more intense in terms of what we're seeing in the collective, because the vast majority of people on the planet are unawakened. And just be aware that, that's the unawakened realm. And we can, if we spend a lot of time in it, we can fall back into it. Be aware of that about yourself. It's just like 4D. If you spend a lot of time in that realm, which has got huge energies, it's got, the energy fields at the lower 4D. It's got the astral planes. It's got what you call the shadow and the darkness all there. And then there's higher planes of 4D. But just be aware that, the longer you spend in a realm, the more you submerge into it. Be aware that you have the energy and the power to choose where to be. That's your power. Watch yourself as you descend. You could be happy 1 minute, and then the next minute you've entered something, some sort of scene, whether that is with people in your physical reality or whether it's on social media, but you've entered some sort of scene and suddenly you don't feel as happy, as balanced. Be aware of that and explore it. Why did you drop? Why did your frequency drop? Look at that. And you'll learn and expand you. So I'm just going to have a drink, and then I want to talk about the death process, because I want to give assurance to everybody that has either lost somebody or is frightened of the death process itself. So I'm just going to have a drink. It's my throat. Okay, so my very first vision, 2012, when I woke, and I call a vision, I call it something where it's complete reality for me. It's not a dream. It's not a meditation or it's not a third eye experience either. It's actually just that the whole reality in front of these eyes change, and there is just this one new reality. That's what I call a vision. The first one I had, where I was shown my own death, and it was a series of visions to wake me up. But the first one of being shown my own death was so that I straight away did not have any fear of death itself, death of the physical body. It took all fear away, and it's not something I've ever really thought much about. It's not something I've ever had a great fear of anyway. But I realize, because of a very recent experience, speaking to friends, that if I explain what I'm about to, it could actually give people peace and assurance of what happens after we die. Some of you are aware that my mum transitioned in September, quite recently. Most of you won't know that I've been expecting it, that I've been shown it for at least 3 to 4 years, because my mother and I hold a aligned journey. I always knew that each step I took into higher frequency was her step, in a step closer to her leaving the physical realm, and I knew that every time I shifted. Our paths were very aligned, and I was shown a lot in what I call learning dreams to keep me up to date of where she was. Even to the point of 24 hours before she passed in September, I was shown that. I was shown she was about to go. I've been preparing all year for that to happen because I knew it would be this year. I just didn't know when. So now I want to fast forward to last Friday. Oh yeah, I've missed a bit out. A couple of years ago, I was shown that I would experience what it is like to die. And when I was shown this in vision form, my mother's energy was present after I had this vision of me dying and what it felt like. So now going back to last Friday, 16th of October, I will just explain what happened. I was in a hospital for a test, and I actually lost consciousness. I wasn't supposed to. I was supposed to be wide awake, but just relaxed, and I lost consciousness. I knew I was losing consciousness, and I could hear the nurses talking, calling my name, but I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't speak. I was losing consciousness. And then everything changed. I was no longer losing consciousness. I knew inside myself that I was about to die, and I was gently surprised. I remember saying to myself, I'm going to die now. Oh, I didn't expect this. I was very calm within myself. There was a complete and utter state of love within me. It didn't matter that I was about to die. It was just a little surprise, that's all. So I accepted in that moment that I was about to die, that was my moment to leave the body and this life. And after I accepted it peacefully, in this great state of love, the energy of my mother enveloped the whole of me. So bearing in mind my mum has deceased in September. I didn't see her, but I knew her energy signature. We each have one. And she completely held me in this energetic of love. It was completely peaceful. Now bear in mind that my mother transitioned in September, and I'd been receiving information all year about my mum and how it would occur and what it would be like for her. It's not something I've spoken about. The thing I want to share, so I'll finish off what the experience was, and then the point of sharing. I want to make the point of why I'm sharing this. So I experienced not being the body then because I'd died. I was consciousness being held in this greater love. And I was there for a while. And then I started to hear the words, Amanda, Amanda. And at that point, I started to descend down this tunnel of light. It seemed quite fast, but I was a white light consciousness descending down this tunnel that was made of different colours of light, and I could see the intricacies of this tunnel as I came down it. And I kept coming down this tunnel, seemed a long time. And then I heard in this reality, this solid realm, Amanda, 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 which was the nurses, they were calling me, nurses in the room. And when I could then open my eyes, but I couldn't speak, couldn't move, and that's why I'm still quite groggy. So the reason I was given this experience, the reason I was shown it a couple of years ago that I would have this experience, has had to unfold within me since Friday. By dying, I experienced the greater love that is outside of this field. And I was to experience it to bring it back and give it out. But I'm still trying to understand it myself. Since then, I'm able to be that greater love here on my own in the caravan. I can instantly become it. And since then, it's like I'm becoming more and more and more just vibration itself. So less the human aspect, less the human identity, and more energy, just being energy, just existing as energy with a body. Now, the reason I'm explaining all this isn't to talk about me. It's to give peace to people that may have lost somebody, that may know of somebody who is about to leave their human life. The reason I've come on today is because I've just found out a friend has gone, a light worker. I send love to her. And I want to also assure people that are actually frightened of dying, frightened of what will be next. That's why I've come on. Because there's nothing to fear. Nothing. What I've understood through my own experience of my mum dying in September and my own death on Friday is that there's no end. So human beings that lose somebody, they feel and believe that there is then an end, because they're aware of somebody in their life, and suddenly that person is gone. And so we have this idea, this belief system, that means the end of that person, because their life force, their human body has stopped. But it's not the end for them. It's a perception human beings have observing somebody who has just left. Because the body stops, so to speak. The body doesn't stop, by the way. It just changes form. And the body itself being a solidity of light, is given back to Mother Earth in one form or another, whether that is to be buried or whether that is in the ashes form. So the body itself just changes its form. But in terms of the person you think was a person, who was not a person ever, but was consciousness, a consciousness facet of God, there is no end for them. They carry on. They don't stop. There is no stop point at death. It carries on. It just flows along. And I'm saying this having been shown what would happen for my mother and having actually physically experienced the process of death on Friday. And so what happens for the person that is about to leave the human body, the person that's about to die, so to speak, there's the final giving up, the final breath, which I spoke about actually in the last video before I had the experience. There's the final breath. And at the end of that final breath, so we breathe in and we breathe out, don't we, as a living being, in and out, in and out. Now, at the end of an out breath, and I've been practicing this ever since, because it's what allows me to be the greater love. At the end of the out breath, there's still more. You can still go further with your breath, even though you think it's the end of the out breath, the exhale. There's actually more at the end of that exhale. And that final out breath that goes beyond the exhale into more, a further part of the exhale of the breath, allows the consciousness to literally become aware of itself via the human. And so the human is aware at that moment they are leaving the body. At the end of that exhale, the greater love, God itself, God's love, envelops the consciousness, the human awareness. And so there's this peace and acceptance and harmony that you're just carrying on. There's no leaving anything behind. You're just walking along, so to speak, but you're doing it energetically. There's no stop, there's no walking and then stop and then walking again. That's what I'm trying to say. You're walking along in the human life. It's time to exit the body. You just carry on walking. You don't stop. You just carry on. And it's once that stage has happened, where you feel the greater love, the divine love, in its purest form, because it's completely outside the field of polarity. At this point, you've left the body. You're just conscious awareness. It's then that you then begin the next stage of the journey for your consciousness. So I was greeted by the energetics of my mother, but I didn't carry on. Whereas somebody that's chosen to leave the life form and carry on, they will just carry on. But they'll carry on with this all-encompassing awareness and love of God that is actually underlying every single thing in this realm. It's just that then you get to experience it with far greater awareness. So if you are somebody that has recently lost somebody, or maybe you've lost somebody and you've never been able to get over the loss of them, or maybe you know of somebody that's ill now, or maybe you're frightened yourself of your own death, there's no end. There's no stop-start. There's just this continuation of your consciousness. But at the point that you choose to let go of your body, the greatest love, the pure love of God, becomes your complete and utter awareness. And you just want to be with it. It's a joy. It's a release. It's a harmony that you just go with. You just go with. It's seamless. I hope that's helped. If you've lost someone, you've not lost them. They haven't gone anywhere. They're all around you. And the only way to know that, the only way to truly know that is through your love. By being love. When you are love, when you feel the love within yourself, you can feel them. And you can be in celebration of them. It's only when a human being forgets love for a moment because they're in loss, they're in separation, they're in upset. And in that loss, separation, upset, they're forgetting to be in that moment love itself. It's only then that you feel the pain of separation. You can be with them in any moment. You can feel them when you yourself choose to be love. I hope that helps. I hope it brings peace, which is my only intention, is to help in an area that I had no idea I'd ever be speaking about, but it's too beautiful to not share. It's too magical. It's too utterly breathtaking to know that nothing ever ends and your loved ones are never gone. They're just in their next step. Their next experience is about to begin for them. And you can be happy for them. You can celebrate them. And if you're worried for yourself and your own death of the body itself, of your body, there's no end. It will be a celebratory, harmonious, joyful step into the next experience of you and your soul's journey. There we go. I'll leave it there. I hope it helps. I truly hope it helps. Just be love. That's your connection to everyone and everything. It's just love. And God bless you all. And I hope it's not been all over the place, but it's like I say, my brain's just not, it's not in logic, it's not in thinking mode. It's all quite, it's very vibrational. So I'm aware that I'm a little bit all over the place as I'm speaking. It's because I can't really focus. It's more about being now. So God bless you. Take care. And whatever happens in these next few months, there's an energy that underlies everything. Tune into that. Find your strength from that. Find your peace, your acceptance, and your own harmony from that energy. And it's an energy that we do call and label as love. But even that word is just a word. That's what I experienced when I died on Friday, is that is just a word. It's an actual energy that you hold, that everyone holds. Nothing cannot have this energy. And the energy we call love is actually God's energy. And that's what each are remembering. That's what everyone is remembering, one step at a time. Love is God's energy, period. That's why it feels so good. God bless, take care, and keep going. I love you with all my heart. Bye for now. Bye-bye.